Gentlemen, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. I call the meeting to order. I declare a quorum of members are present and the media has been notified. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford and a second from Mr. Ramsey to approve the agenda. I'm trying to back away. Is that better? Okay. To approve the agenda, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. We need a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of February 22nd, 2022.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Dr. Wigfall, a second from Ms.
No,
Excuse me?
Motion
I
for
believe
Ms.
it's Tanner.
Oh, excuse me, from
okay.
Ms. Tanner, or second from Dr. Wigfall to approve the minutes of the board meeting of February 22nd. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. Do we have a motion to enter into executive session?
I make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Ramsey, a second from Dr. Wigfall to enter into executive session.
Not Dr. Wigfall.
Tanner.
There's a motion.
Right here. Sorry. I second it.
I guess I'm getting some feedback.
It's feedback. Yes, there's definitely feedback.
So you
I
made the
second
motion?
it. No, sir. Ramsey made the motion and I seconded.
We'll have trouble.
You're hearing it. You're hearing it in surround sound.
We'll have trouble with the minutes next time. Okay. Okay, Dr. Wigfall made the motion and Ms. Tanner. Mr. Ramsey made the motion. Ms. Tanner.
Dr. Tanner, I'll take it.
Okay. To enter into executive session. The purpose of the executive session are as discussion of evaluation, employment, appointment, assignment, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee or employees as needed. C, a legal update regarding a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by attorney-client privilege. 1, student attendance appeal, and 1, student expulsion appeal. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of going into executive session, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 5-0. We are in executive session. And ladies and gentlemen, we hope to be back at 6:30 promptly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, do we have a motion for the board to return to regular session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan and a second for Mr. Ramsey to return to regular session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of returning to regular session, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it by a vote of 8-0. We are in regular session. And for the record, no action was taken in executive session. At this time, we'll have Section 3 regular session and the Star Spangled Banner, and I will defer to Ms. Kirsten Tanner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I ask that you please stand for the Star Spangled Banner video performed by Timberland High School's choir, taught by Prince Brewington. Thank you, Mr. Evans and Timberland High School, for sharing and showcasing this group's talent. Once this is completed, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Chair Barrow, while we're waiting on that, you want to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh, nope.
Wait a minute.
Wait,
Are we are we on go?
It's not doing volume. Do we have a tech available to assist? He's coming. He is hustling. Thank you so much. We apologize. We find it very honoring to get to honor our students at each of our board meetings, so it'd be nice to hear it. While we wait, We have some other things we can discuss. Next, I'd like to recognize Stratford High School and their Visual Arts Department taught by Suzanne Glenn, Sally Stewart Kuzner, please forgive me if I just butchered that, Heather Hill, and Amber Earwood. The student artwork has been displayed for everyone's enjoyment this evening out in the lobby of the auditorium, so please check that out as you exit this evening. Thank you, Stratford High School. I'd also ask you to be seated for a moment, and if we get this video going, we'll stand back up. But I would like one special gentleman to stand. We would be remiss if we did not recognize the talent of one of our recent Timberland High School graduates, Mr. Zaire Gordine. Can you please stand for us? Mr. Gordine placed first overall in Home Telecom's annual front cover art contest, so let me emphasize that. His artwork was chosen for the cover of the Home Telecom directory in Berkeley County. Thank you so much, Mr. Gordine, for your amazing talent. This evening, we also have student artwork from none other than Timberland High School's Visual Arts Department, led by Ethan Rollerson. If you have not done so before the meeting, please take time afterwards to check out the display out in the auditorium, or out on the outside of the auditorium by all of our students. And hopefully, our amazing techs are gonna hook us up. And if not,
Perhaps we should just go ahead and continue with the program, and maybe once it's uploaded on the website, we can all take a look at it and celebrate with the chorus at that time. Is that okay? All right, very good. So
yes.
Our next program, next item is Legacy Builders Special Recognition, and that's why we're all here tonight, to recognize our great teachers of the school level teachers of the year. Let's give them a round of applause. This time I'd like to recognize Dr. Anthony Dixon, Chief Academic Officer of Berkeley County School District, to introduce the Berkeley County School District School Level Teachers of the Year. Welcome Dr. Dixon to the podium.
Good evening, Board Chair Barrow, Superintendent Jackson, and ladies and gentlemen of the school board. At this time, this is one of our very exciting times within our academic year, where we get to honor the great accomplishments and talents of very special, dedicated teachers from each individual school. So at this point, I would like to recognize our current teachers of the year for our district, Ms. Brittany Gary and Judith Rainey, to do the honors of recognizing our 2022 Teachers of the Year.
Good evening, Mr. Jackson, Chair Barrow, and members of the board. Brittany and I are so excited to be here tonight to introduce our 2022 Teachers of the Year. They were selected by their peers for their professionalism, their passion for kids, their innovative teaching strategies, their leadership, and to represent their school as a member of our BCSD Teacher Forum. So please, again, join me in giving them a huge round of applause. At this time, we would like to ask Mr. Jackson, Chair Barrow, and members of the board if you would step forward into a receiving line to greet our Teachers of the Year as they are announced alphabetically by the school they represent. From Berkeley Alternative, Rachel Poitras teaches 9th through 12th grade English, and she's been teaching for 22 years. From Berkeley Elementary, Kimberly Mounts is a kindergarten teacher and has been teaching for 14 years. From Berkeley High, Jennifer Paul Hamus teaches English for 9th through 12th grade and has been teaching for 15 years. From Berkeley Intermediate, Nicole Ramsey, a 5th grade teacher, and she's been teaching for 4 years. From Berkeley Middle, Brian DeMonte teaches special ed, 6th through 8th grade, and has been teaching for 10 and a half years. From Berkeley Middle College, Mark Hott could not be with us tonight, but he teaches physics and chemistry to 11th and 12th graders, and he's been teaching for 23 and a half years. From Boulder Bluff Elementary, Kimberly Swan, she's been teaching for 17 years, and she teaches our youngest friends in SERDEP. From Bowens Corner Elementary, Rebecca Davis could not be with us tonight. She teaches 2nd grade, and she's been teaching 10 and a half years. From Cainhoy Elementary, Brittna Seabrook teaches 2nd grade, and she's been teaching 3 and a half years. From Cane Bay Elementary, Stephanie Penning teaches 2nd grade, and she's been teaching for 7 years. From Cane Bay High, Curtis Yenyo teaches mathematics to 9th through 12th grade, and he's been teaching for 14 years. From Cane Bay Middle, Courtney Wichow teaches 7th grade social studies, and she's been teaching for 12 years. From College Park Elementary, Debbie Manningding is a multi-age teacher, and she's been teaching for 8 years. From College Park Middle, Matt Smith is a school counselor for 6th through 8th grades, and he's been teaching for 13 years. From Cross Elementary, Deborah Thompson is a 2nd grade teacher, and she's been teaching for 15 years. From Cross High, Constance Liberty Johnson teaches 7th through 8th grade social studies, and she's been teaching for 5 years. From Daniel Island School, Lane Holmes is a kindergarten teacher, and she's been teaching for 17 years. From Devon Forest Elementary, Mackenzie Fortner is a 5th grade teacher teaching ELA and social studies, and she's been teaching for 4 and a half years. From Fox Bank Elementary, Ashley Cox is a 2nd grade teacher, and she's been teaching for 5 years. From Goose Creek Elementary, Nadine Pogrochevsky, and I think I said it right. She is a special ed teacher, and she teaches kindergarten through 5th grade, and she's been teaching for 28 years. From Goose Creek High, Teresa Borgarts teaches 9th through 12th grade ESOL, and she's been teaching for 11 years. From H.E. Bonner Elementary, Charlotte C. Lee, she's a dance teacher, and she's been teaching for 5 years. From Hanahan Elementary, Marcy Gasperson, she's a 4th grade teacher and has been teaching for 14 years, but she could not be with us tonight.
From Hanahan High, Jason Bremer. He teaches CTE graphics, 9th through 12th grades, He's been teaching for 13 years. Hanahan Middle, Andre North. He teaches band 6th, 7th, and 8th grades, and he's been teaching for 8 years. From Hal Hall Ames, Kelly Rodriguez. She could not be with us tonight, but we still wanted to recognize her. She's a media specialist and has been teaching for 4 years. J.K. Gordine Elementary, Rachel Sheely. She teaches 3rd grade, and she has 7.5 years experience. Macedonia Middle, Jared Turner. He teaches math, social studies for 7th graders, and he's been teaching for 10 years. Merrington Elementary, Heidi Wichow. She teaches 4th grade and has been teaching for 20 years. Merrington Middle, Alyssa Seifried. She teaches 6th grade ELA, and she's been teaching for 17 years. From Mount Holly Elementary, Jenny West. She teaches ESOL for all grades and has been teaching for 19 years. And from Nexton Elementary, Natalie Lewis. She is a 1st grade teacher and has 11 years experience. Philip Simmons Elementary, Cynthia Zimmerman. She's a 4th grade GT teacher and has been teaching for 14 years. Philip Simmons High, Amanda Lewandowski. She's a 9th through 12th grade math teacher who's been teaching for 10 years. Philip Simmons Middle, Joshua McCall. He's an 8th grade English teacher and has been teaching for 3.5 years. Sangaree Elementary, Kimberly Beery. She teaches 2nd grade and has been teaching for 16 years. Sangaree Intermediate, Yasmin Steele. She teaches 3rd through 5th grade as a school guidance counselor. She's been teaching for 9 years. Sangaree Middle, Jamie Doyle. Jamie teaches 8th grade science and has been teaching for 10 years. Sedgefield Middle, Katrina Driscoll. She teaches 8th grade social studies and has been teaching for 3 years. St. Stephen Elementary, Khadijah Walker. She is a K4 through 5th grade teacher for physical education. St. Stephen Middle, Kelly Taylor. She teaches 6th grade ELA and has been teaching for 16 years. Stratford High, Matt Collins. He teaches 9th and 11th grade U.S. history and human geography. He's been teaching for 14 years. Timberland High, Michael Bender. He teaches 10th and 11th grade English and has been teaching for 25 years. Nothing better. Westview Elementary, Matt Gaddis. He is a 5th grade math and science teacher who's been teaching for 9 years. Westview Middle, Marjorie Ambrose. She's a 6th through 8th grade teacher and teaches orchestra and has been teaching 9 years. Westview Primary, Claudia O'Callahan. She teaches K-5 through 2nd grades, ESOL, and has been teaching for 20 years. Whitesville Elementary, Rebecca O'Neill Black, 4th grade, self-contained, and has been teaching 11 and a half years.
And now for our top 8 Teachers of the Year. Each Teacher of the Year submitted an extensive District Teacher of the Year application, which included a professional biography, community involvement, and professional development, innovation in the classroom, a current educational issue, and a Teacher of the Year message. Our District Teacher of the Year selection committee, consisting of principals and assistant principals from elementary, middle, and high school, along with a community business partner and a teaching fellow student from the local university, read every application and used a rubric to score the criteria. I know this wasn't an easy task to take 47 applications from these distinguished educators and narrow it down to 8. We would like to thank the selection committee for their time and for the intense work that they have already put into this important process. Brittany and I would also like to share that we were not on the selection committee for this round of the process. As a matter of fact, this sealed envelope that you saw Dr. Baird just hand to Brittany,
I just opened it.
yes, with the top 8 names inside was just handed to us, so we will, however, be included on the selection committee after tonight, not as voting members, but strictly as a support for our teachers. And now for the big moment, our top 8 Teachers of the Year. When your name is announced, please walk onto the stage to be recognized and remain on the stage for a group picture. And we'll begin each one with a principal quote. This teacher demonstrates a strong belief in every child. Their rapport with the children, their families, and members of the community makes them an outstanding member of our staff and of the teaching profession. From Foxbank Elementary, Ashley Cox. This teacher exemplifies what it means to be a teacher leader and a teacher cheerleader. They welcome everyone into their classroom and is eager to share and collaborate with their colleagues. As a teacher leader, they are always looking for ways to improve and strengthen their lessons. From College Park Elementary, Debbie Manningding. Go her. This principal says, this teacher has never met a student that has not become their own. They spend a large amount of time at the start of each year building a community in their classroom, as well as connecting individually with each student. From Marrington Elementary, Heidi Wichow. In their classroom, innovation is not a buzzword, but instead a belief that they instill in their students. The belief that all students and themselves as an educator are capable of being challenged to learn something new each day. From Philip Simmons Elementary, Cynthia Zimmerman. She has created a nurturing classroom where students have high expectations for learning. While visiting her classroom, you will observe students in a literacy-rich environment through literacy stations and increased authentic engagement. From Daniel Island School, Lane Holmes. She is a teacher that cares about her students, the profession, and takes her commitment to the district, school, students, and families seriously. She always goes beyond to fulfill her responsibilities. From Bowens Corner Elementary, Rebecca Davis. And Rebecca was not able to be with us tonight. The classroom is an excellent example of the work and life skills Berkeley County School District upholds as central to a world-class education. Their students regularly participate in seminars and debates which require critical thinking, adaptability, communication skills, resilience, and collaboration. From Philip Simmons Middle, Joshua McCall. As students pass them in the halls, they can call almost every student by name. They have cultivated and grown relationships with students that give students the true belief that they know, hear, see, and believe in them. College Park Middle's Matt Smith. Congratulations to our top 8 and all of our 2022 Teachers of the Year. We are so proud of all of you and excited for you to join us in our BCSD Teacher Forum.
I think it's incumbent upon each board member to reflect about the last couple of years have been very difficult. We as a board have cherished the opportunity to represent you as teachers and as people that care about you. You don't always hear that, but we as individuals and a collective group try to do the best that we can on a daily basis to represent you and the students primarily, and then obviously the faculty and staff, not just teachers, but all of our employees, because we all have a function, we all have a purpose, and we cannot have schools without children, and we cannot have classrooms without teachers. For that, we applaud your efforts in these unparalleled, consequential times that we have lived in over the last couple of years. Hopefully, that will be a sign of the past. Hopefully, in the near future, we won't have all of this pandemic business, and we can get back to focusing on what's really important, and that's the face-to-face instruction of our students on a daily basis by qualified, caring professionals, and that's exactly what you are. Thank you so much for what you do. The next item is item number 5, citizens' comments. and I will read the procedures. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or to halt public comments that do not adhere to the guidelines. Our first speaker is Mr. Garris Davis, and the comment is concerning ESSER 3 SEL fund and SEC deployment. Welcome, Mr. Davis.
Appreciate the board. I'm going to call you out by name. Here's what I want to talk to you about. We know we have a situation where we want the stakeholders, the public, to man up and educate themselves on what's going on in the schools. Likewise, we know that the school board has the same obligation to work with us to accomplish that aim. There's two things we'd like to have, and they're both related. ESSER 3. What we're interested in specifically is ESSER 3, I call it draws. We get ready to give you money. And all the hoops you got to jump through to satisfy the federal government and the State Board of Education. What we'd like to have is a 5 or 10 minute presentation at the next school board meeting to educate the public. Specifically, we would like you to use the template for SEL, Pearson, and all those controversial things. The second piece of it, as I said, that is related to it, we've got an initiative going on. It's a joint initiative with Mr. Baird and Mr. Dixon, Academics and Innovation. And we're going to be meeting with them to do that same thing. We want to step up to what we need to be educated on. We want you folks to step up on what you need to educate us on. So we'll be meeting on the same funding that I just talked about on ESSER. We'll be meeting about things such as MTSS, Pearson, Panorama, Intervention, CASEL, PBIS, professional training for the highly trained team that is going to be working at the school. We understand that's going to go. You have contact with the State Board of Education. You have contact with the district school. The principal's going to be involved at the local school, and there's going to be a team. We want that understood so that we've done what we can do to educate ourselves. We'd like a presentation on the findings and the outcome of that meeting, I don't know, sometime in the next month or so. And I think we can finally lay some things to rest. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk. Thank you, and looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Our next speaker is Mr. Clint Eccles, offering praise to Timberland High School and encouragement to the board. Welcome, Mr. Eccles.
Yes, sir. God bless you. Good to see you folks again.
Thank you.
Hey, you keep doing this, honoring teachers like this, I'll keep coming back, and I feel like I just won the Super Bowl of teaching tonight. What a great thing to celebrate. And I want you to know that my 20-year-old daughter is teaching her fourth semester at Charleston Southern University in the education program, going to early elementary to continue to give back to this community. So thank God for you. Praise the Lord for you. I just want to give a minute of praise to Timberland High School and a minute of encouragement to everyone. I get to be a teammate with Timberland High School because I serve with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Our mission is to reach every coach and athlete with the gospel of Jesus Christ, but we do that respecting all the protocols that exist, as well as acknowledging the Student Rights Act of 2006, allowing students to exercise, express, and hear about faith in Jesus Christ on campus. And so I'm thrilled to be friends with people like Jerome Stewart, who has had so much staying power here as a basketball coach and a PE director. I'm thrilled that when I went to the wrestling state championship all the way up in Columbia at Dreher High School to watch those young men fight their guts out. Literally, it was still undecided with 3 weight classes left. And then to see Principal Evans there to celebrate with them, to see Coach Greg Wright there to celebrate with them, to see members of the administration of this school there to celebrate with them, and the matriarch of any school front office that I've ever known, Miss Green, to be there to celebrate them, my heart was encouraged. These are people, Timberland High School fights for its kids, and I celebrate all the leadership, and I'm glad to be a teammate with them. And I'm just so proud to some of the decisions that Principal Evans has made in being here. The second thing I want to do, since I took 2 minutes, I'll do it short. I just want to read just one verse, and that is, it's in Proverbs 21:22. A wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the stronghold in which they trust. Board members, what that's really saying there is the wise man finds the hardest thing. The wise man finds the biggest obstacle and goes and tears that down, because that's the most important thing to do. And I want you to know that I believe that your superintendent is one of those wise men. When he met with us on February the 1st over at the Church of Cane Bay and humbled himself and appealed to the community and even the faith community, and reached out to us and said, help us be better. Help us serve the hearts of our young people in our schools. My heart was thrilled, and I'm here to support you. I'm here to be one of those people that will fight alongside of you and serve in any way that I can. So keep fighting. Keep doing the hard things that are necessary in this very strange time. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Eccles. Our next speaker is Miss Ann Conder. The comment is directed at board duties. Welcome, Ms. Conder.
Always thrilled on this special occasion when we honor our teachers. And I really appreciate you. I've appreciated you when I served on the board, and I still appreciate you today. Because I still have a grandchild in the school district who goes to Moose Creek High School, and she loves her teachers. She loves what she's learned. And I just feel like this is a very special occasion for all of you. And I thank you. And I would love to honor you again. And I'm always delighted to come and share this moment with you folks. Not just as a former school board member or school board member, but as a citizen of this county. Tonight, I just want to touch on what I feel like, well, not what I feel like, but what I know to be specifically school board duties and responsibilities. And from where I sit, I have noticed over the past year, year and a half, since some of you have taken office, that you step outside your lane. So I'm here tonight to kind of remind you as to what your duties and your responsibilities are. Policy making. You're a policy maker for the school district. And at the next meeting, I'm going to hit on that specifically so that you can understand a little bit more about what your duties are when it comes to policy making. Planning, which include the academics, the facilities, and the budget issues that you encounter. Overseeing financial resources. You are to be a good steward of taxpayer dollars. Informing the public about schools and plans, and keeping itself and school personnel informed of the public's concerns. Well, we are the public. and we do have concerns. And there have been several occasions where we felt like we were not being heard. Last school board meeting, transparency was an issue. It was brought up by some of the concerned citizens. If there's concern about transparency, then you need to listen and perhaps come forward and be more transparent. Hiring of the school superintendent or the school district superintendent who share the community's visions and values. I've known Mr. Jackson for quite a while, and he is a very, very nice person. And he does share a lot of our visions and values. But hiring means hiring him and letting him manage the school district. Not board members, Mr. Jackson. And we'll discuss this a little bit more at the next board meeting because I'm running out of time. But again, like I said, I appreciate the teachers and what you do for our children. They come first. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Condra. Our last speaker for this evening is Josh Birch on Wi-Fi towers. Welcome, Mr. Birch.
Okay, there. Thanks for having me here. I missed the card in front, so thanks for helping me do that one.
That's okay.
I'm a parent of 2 students, soon to be 3, and then hopefully another one a few years later. I'm a career engineer, and I've had training in electricity, magnetism, nuclear physics, some others related to my topic today, because Wi-Fi towers are related to energy, and that's cell towers. I saw in January on the discussion for the board and maybe on the agenda today for consideration of leasing land for antennas. And just wanted to mention there were some concerns from some of the board members last time and a request for more information. And I share those and wanted to bring up a court case in August last year that Children's Health Defense and others brought to against the FCC. Said the court ruled that the FCC failed to consider the non-cancer evidence regarding adverse health effects of wireless technology when it decided that its 1996 radio frequency emission guidelines protect the public's health. And the court's judgment states the case be remanded to the commission to provide a reasoned explanation for its determination that its guidelines adequately protect against harmful effects of exposure to radio frequency radiation. So basically they didn't do their homework properly, pushed it through. The court ruled that they didn't conduct reasoned decision-making regarding risks of wireless harm and safety. And in that case, there's a slew of evidence. It went on for a while. There was more than 11,000 pages of evidence of harm from 5G and wireless technology, which the FCC ignored, including evidence of already existing widespread sickness. And so I'm here to mention that as a consider the children's health in the form of cell towers, especially in the realm of 5G, which is newer and coming online and needs more research to be done. And the judge says, go back, do your research. And also, last thing, bring back parents into the schools. Exclamation point, emphasis added, hashtag common sense.
Mr. Birch, your time has expired. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. The next item is item number 6. Any action is required for items from executive session. We do have several items of significance. We do have one student attendance appeal. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we deny the appeal of student number 1.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan to deny the appeal and seconded by Ms. Tanner. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Barrow, I would like to note for the record that I will be recusing myself from this vote.
Thank you, Ms. Wofford. Ms. Wofford, for the record, will be recusing herself. Is there any discussion on the denial of student attendance appeal, number 1? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 7-0. The motion is approved.
I'm sorry, Mr. Barrow, I did submit that in writing as well. That's the other part of the policy I should have stated.
That's no problem. I have that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, in the expulsion appeal matter of student number 1, I move that we grant the appeal and allow the child to return to school on strict probation.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Mr. Ramsey to approve the appeal and to allow the student to return to school under strict probation. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Nay. Motion carries by a vote of 6-1. We have several very important motions, and I would like for the first one, Mr. McQuillan.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Michael Huff as principal of the Philip Simmons Elementary with the start date of March 9th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Ms. Wofford, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Michael Huff as principal of Philip Simmons Elementary with a starting date of March 9th. That's tomorrow. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it unanimously, 8-0. Congratulations, Mr. Huff. Would you like, did we take a picture? Do you have any family or friends with you, Mr. Huff? Would you folks please stand and let's get a good picture of y'all, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Tiffany Brown as the principal of Cane Bay High School with a starting date of March 9th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Ms. Wofford to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Tiffany Brown as principal of Cane Bay High School with a starting date of March 9, 2022. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it unanimously by a vote of 8-0. Congratulations, Ms. Brown. Could you introduce your family or friends? Let's get a good picture. Please stand. Here we go.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Jema Diaz as the principal of Stratford High School with a starting date of March 9, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Littleton, a second from Ms. Marone to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Jema Diaz as the principal of Stratford High School with a starting date of March 9, 2022. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Unanimously, a vote of 8-0. Congratulations, Ms. Diaz.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Catherine Butcher as the principal of Berkeley High School with a starting date of March 9th, 2022.
Second.
All right, who was first?
I was.
Okay. We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, a second from Ms. Marone to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Catherine Butcher as the principal of Berkeley High School with a starting date of March 9th, 2022. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Unanimous consent. Congratulations, Ms. Butcher.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the personal recommendations of the administration as discussed in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Ramsey, a second from Ms. Wofford to accept the personnel recommendations of the administration as discussed in executive session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 8-0. Motion carries. And at this time, those teachers of the year and the families, if you'd like to excuse yourselves and go home and get a good night's rest, now is a great time. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
Thank you.
The next item is number 7 on the agenda, committee assignments. We do not need to assign any temporary members to any committees because we do have a quorum for each committee. And at this time, number 8, we will recess. I'm calling a recess from regular session in order to, for the standing committees to convene. Ms. Littleton, if you will convene your committee.
I'm calling the Committee on Academics and Innovation to order. I declare there's a quorum of committee members present. I note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make the motion.
Second? We have a motion by Dr. Wigfall and a motion by Dr. Wigfall and a second by Littleton. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion passes 3-0. The only item on the agenda today is the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for January 2022, Head Start Credit Report for January 2022, Annual Report, Committee Assessment, Self-Assessment Improvement Plan, Self-Assessment Strategic Plan, School Readiness Plan, and Training and Technical Plan. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Madam Chair, I make the motion to approve the Head Start Budget Expenditure Report for January 2022, the Head Start Credit Card Report for January 2022, the Annual Report, the Committee Assessment, the Self-Assessment Improvement Plan, the Self-Assessment Strategic Plan, the School Readiness Plan, and the Training and Technical Plan.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Wigfall and a second by Mr. Ramsey to approve the motion. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion passes 3-0. This is the end of, may I have a motion to end our meeting?
I make the motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Moving on to you. Finance Committee?
I'm calling the Committee on Finance and Capital Planning to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The agenda is approved. The first agenda item is out-of-state travel. Ms. Smith, you are recognized.
Good evening, Chairman McQuillan, board members, and Superintendent Jackson. Administration is requesting permission to move forward with the out-of-state travel as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve out-of-state travel as presented.
Second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. The motion is approved. The second agenda item is RFP 617, 2021-2022, cell tower leasing. Ms. Smith, you are again recognized.
Thank you. I am going to invite Marcy Abrahamson to discuss the 7 items on the agenda for procurement.
Good evening, Committee Chair McQuillan, Board Chair Mr. Barrow, and board members. Tonight we are bringing back for your consideration RFP 617-2122 for the cell tower leasing and licensing. After we provided the additional information in February's meeting, we asked for consideration to award a 10-year term contract with the option to renew for 2 additional 10-year terms for a total of 30 years to APC Edge Telecom Services LLC for estimated revenue in the initial 10-year period of $6,868,101 and a total revenue for the 20-year term of $18,595,884. The potential revenue over a 50-year period is estimated at $73,180,340 based on the 19 sites identified.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for agenda item 2B, RFP number 617-21-22, cell tower leasing to be approved.
Is this on, when we go to the main committee meeting, is this on the agenda for the full board to consider tonight, or it would go to the full board later?
It is not on the agenda for this evening on the full board.
But
It will go to the full board on the second meeting in March. This is back for committee review.
okay, I'm gonna second it just to get it out of committee, but I don't know that I'm gonna support this when it comes to the full board. We got a motion and a second. All in favor to take this out of committee so that the full board can consider it, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. The next agenda item is IFB 633-2122, E-rate enterprise licenses for support and software upgrades on existing Maracay wireless access points. Ms. Smith, you are again recognized.
I'll take that one from her as well. The next 6 bids are E-rate bids that we do every year. We have to conduct the bid process prior to submitting our E-rate application, which is due March 22nd. Therefore, these bids will need committee and full board approval this evening so that we can meet our deadlines. The first one is IFB 633-2122 to purchase enterprise licenses to support for license support and software upgrades on all of our existing Meraki wireless access points. The awardee was Bridge Tech Solutions LLC out of Greenville, South Carolina. The estimated 1-year total based on the listing that we provided in the RFP was $296,128, and we are asking for this to be a term contract to leave open for 5 years for additional purchases as needed.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next agenda item is RFP 634-2122, E-rate replace closet switching at 13 locations. Marcy?
Again, this is going to be an E-rate bid, and we are going to replace 13 locations this year. We update the switching devices to help the schools' one-to-one initiative. The awardee is Bridge Tech Solutions LLC. The estimated 1-year contract value is $1,506,944. We're asking for this to also be a term contract for additional purchases over the next 5 years for an unknown amount to purchase as needed.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. The next agenda item is RFP 635, E-rate replace wireless at 2 locations.
Yes, sir. This is going to replace the wireless locations for 2 of our schools. And again, this is E-rate funding. We'll make the application, and once we're approved for funding, we'll move forward. The awardee, again, is Bridge Tech Solutions LLC for an estimated 1-year contract value of $139,224 with the option of a 5-year renewal for additional purchases as needed.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
What 2 locations will they, what schools or where were
I
those?
have that. I don't have it committed to memory, but I do have it. Yes,
Sure.
ma'am, if you.
Cross and Stratford, okay. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The next agenda item is RFP 636, E-rate uninterruptible power source UPS devices.
This is another one that we've done in the past, is to upgrade, provide and install new UPS sources, but this will be for the new Carnes K-8 school. Again, the awardee is Bridge Tech Solutions, and the award amount is $22,600. And we will like to keep this open for additional purchases over a 5-year term as needed.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The 7th agenda item is RFP 637, 2122, E-rate install wireless at Carnes Crossroads School.
Yes, sir. This is, again, awarded to Bridge Tech Solutions LLC to apply for E-rate funding to install wireless at the new Carnes K-8 school. The estimated one-year cost is, initial cost is $214,244, with the option to keep the contract open for 5 years for additional purchases as needed.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McQuillan, I have
Yes,
a-
ma'am.
Was Bridge Tech the low bidder on all of these? Was it bid to, I mean, it has separate numbers, so it was bid separately?
They were all bid as an RFP, so price was not the only driving factor. There were other evaluation criteria, but if you go back and I've included the cost proposals, and yes, Bridge Tech was the lowest offerer as well.
I just didn't know if we bid them individually and they won 7 bids, or if it was, I thought it was a package. I just wanted to say that for the public, because it kind of is hard for them to think why you're saying the same company's name over and over again. So
Yes, ma'am.
it was a package. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
ma'am.
They were the most responsive and the lowest priced, though.
They were, I have to go back and double check because price wasn't the only factor considered on this award. There were other evaluation criteria, but I think on a few of them, Bridge Tech and only one other person submitted, like this one. This is, no, that's 638. This is 637. On 637, Bridge Tech was the only one that submitted an offer. And on the next one, we had 2, and Bridge Tech and 1 other. And so on some of them, there was a little more competition than that, but Bridge Tech was the most consistent and offered the best pricing.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. The 8th agenda item is RFP 638-2122, E-rate install new core and closet switching infrastructure at Carnes Crossroads School.
Yes, sir. Again, this is an E-rate bid to apply for funding for the E-rate process in March, and this is to install new core and closet switching infrastructure at the new Carnes K-8 school for an estimated initial cost of $288,854. And again, we'd like to keep the RFP open for a 5-year term for additional purchases as needed.
Move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Move to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I am calling the Committee on Human Resources to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present, and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. First agenda item tonight is policy IFBGA, acceptable use for network, internet, and email services, second reading. Dr. Whitley, you are recognized.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Jackson, and board members. We are requesting second reading approval of policy IFBGA, acceptable use for network, internet, and email services. The policy was last revised in 2009. The updated version seeks to incorporate policy JAC, technology acceptable use, from the student section. Changes include updating the language and legal references. Are there any questions?
I move to approve the second reading of policy IFBGA, acceptable use for network, internet, email services as presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Second agenda item is Administrative Rule IFBGA-R, acceptable use for network, internet, and email services, second reading. Dr. Whitley, you're again recognized.
Thank you. We are requesting second reading approval of Administrative Rule IFBGA-R, acceptable use for network, internet, and email services. The rule was last revised in 2016. The updated version seeks to incorporate JAC-R Student Technology Acceptable Use. Changes include an update in terminology, the addition of privacy information, language regarding damages and vandalism, a section on bullying and cyberbullying, and other minor edits. Are there any questions?
I motion for the second reading for the administrative rule of IFBGAR, acceptable use for network, internet, and email services.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The third agenda item is Exhibit IFBGA E1, Staff Technology Acceptable Use Form, second reading. Dr. Whitley, your turn.
We are requesting second reading approval of Exhibit IFBGA-E1, Staff Technology Acceptable Use Form. The changes include minor revisions. Are there any questions?
I move to approve the second reading of Exhibit IFBGA E1, Staff Technology Acceptable Use Form as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Fourth agenda item is Exhibit IFBGA E2, Employee District Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Policy and Guidelines, second reading.
We are requesting second reading approval of Exhibit IFBGA-E2, Employee District Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Policy and Guidelines. The changes include updated terminology and other minor revisions. Are there any questions?
I motion to approve the second reading of Exhibit IFBGA E2, Employee District Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Policy and Guidelines.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Fifth agenda item is Exhibit IFBGA E3, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form. Did I just do that one? Am I just getting confused? No, I'm good. Fifth agenda item. For second reading, Dr. Whitley, you're recognized.
Thank you. We are requesting second reading approval of Exhibit IFBGA-E3, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form. The changes seek to simplify the form and remove excess information. Are there any questions?
I move to approve the second reading of Exhibit IFBGA E3, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The sixth agenda item this evening is Exhibit IFBGA E4, Student-Owned Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Guidelines, second reading. Dr. Whitley.
Thank you. We are requesting second reading approval of Exhibit IFBGA-E4, Student-Owned Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Guidelines. The changes include the deletion of the section on bringing your own device, which is now obsolete due to one-to-one initiatives. Revisions include other minor edits. Are there any questions?
I motion to approve, second motion to approve Exhibit IFBGA E4, Student-Owned Electronic Mobile Device Acceptable Use Guidelines.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, respond by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. The seventh agenda item is the second reading approval to delete policy JAC, Technology Acceptable Use. Dr. Whitley, you're recognized.
Thank you. We are requesting second reading approval to delete policy JAC, Technology Acceptable Use. The administration is asking that the above be deleted as this policy has been incorporated in the proposed changes above. Are there any questions?
I move to approve to delete policy JAC, Technology Acceptable Use as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Eighth agenda item, second reading approval to delete Administrative Rule JACR, Student Technology Acceptable Use. Dr. Whitley?
Thank you. We are requesting second reading approval to delete Administrative Rule JAC-R, Student Technology Acceptable Use. The administration is asking that the above be deleted as this administrative rule has been incorporated in the proposed changes above. Are there any questions?
I motion to approve the second reading approval to delete Administrative Rule JACR, Student Technology Acceptable Use.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Ninth and final agenda item is second reading approval to delete Exhibit JACE1, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form. Dr. Whitley, it's your turn again.
Okay, thank you. We are requesting second reading approval to delete Exhibit JACE1, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form. The administration is asking that the above be deleted as this exhibit has been incorporated in the proposed changes above. Are there any questions?
I move to approve the second reading to delete Exhibit JACE, Student Technology Acceptable Use Form as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
I'm calling a return to regular session in order to carry out the remaining business of the meeting. The next item on the agenda is a report from the standing committees. We have a report from the Committee on Finance and Capital Planning. Chairman Mac McQuillan.
Mr. Chairman, the Committee on Finance and Capital Planning met earlier this evening, and on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of IFB 633-2122 to purchase enterprise licenses for support and software upgrades on existing Marikai wireless access points to Bridge Tech Solutions LLC for an initial one-year contract term valued at $296,128 with the option to renew for 4 additional one-year terms to purchase additional licenses as needed based on available funding.
We have a recommendation from the committee, and no second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of RFP 634-2122 to replace closet switching infrastructure at 13 locations to Bridge Tech Solutions LLC for an initial term of 1 year valued at $1,506,944 with the option to renew for 4 additional one-year terms to replace additional locations as needed based on available funding.
We have another recommendation from the committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 8-0.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of RFP 635-2122 to replace wireless at 2 locations to Bridge Tech LLC for an initial term of 1 year valued at $139,224 with the option to renew for 4 additional one-year term to replace at additional locations as needed based on available funding.
We have a recommendation from the committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 8-0.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of RFP 636-2122 to provide and install UPS devices at the New Carnes Crossroads K-8 school to Bridge Tech LLC for an initial contract term of 1 year valued at $22,600 with the option to renew for 4 additional one-year terms to install additional locations as needed based on available funding.
We have a recommendation from the committee, and no second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of RFP 637-2122 to install wireless at the new Carnes Crossroad K-8 school to Bridge Tech LLC for an initial contract term of 1 year valued at $214,244 with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms to install additional locations as needed based on available funding.
We have a recommendation from the committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the award of RFP 638-2122 to install new core and closet switching infrastructure at the new Carnes Crossroads K-8 school for an initial contract term of 1 year, valued at $288,854 with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms to install additional locations as needed based on available funding.
We have a recommendation from the committee and no second is required. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0.
Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McQuillan. The next item on the agenda will be the superintendent's report. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, members of the audience, those tuning in at home. I'll keep my remarks brief this evening. I know it's been a long day, long evening. The first thing I want to say is we had a great time this evening celebrating our Teachers of the Year. And I know I'm maybe stealing someone's thunder either tonight or later on. This is the springtime, and this is that joyous time of year where we get to have those types of celebrations. We get to acknowledge accomplishments. But I do want to say, if you see a teacher, hug a teacher. If you see a teacher, hug a teacher. I had an opportunity to have some brief remarks with the Teachers of the Year prior to the meeting, and I'll have a few more opportunities later on in the spring. But I talked to them about how, think about pressure. Pressure busts pipes. Pressure also makes diamonds, or creates diamonds, help creates diamonds. Takes a tremendous amount of diamonds. They go through an immense amount of pressure and heat before they crystallize. And this year, we've gone through an extreme amount of heat, an extreme amount of pressure this year. And we had all of those teachers march before us, stand before us, sit before us as bright, shiny diamonds. They persevered through it. And so, can't thank them enough for remaining committed to our students, remaining committed to their colleagues, and remaining committed to the profession throughout these very difficult times, very challenging times. So again, if you see a teacher, hug a teacher. If you see those folks out there, please let them know how much we appreciate them, how much we value them as employees, how much we value them as caretakers for our children. Again, just congratulations. I'll have a few more times to congratulate them and celebrate them, and it'll be a little bit longer, but if you see a teacher, hug a teacher. This week is also National Social Workers Week. Now, our school social workers are, you can consider them the unsung heroes of Berkeley County School District. They often do the work that definitely goes unseen. They meet our students where they are. They address the basic needs of our students. They take care of those basic needs. They do home visits. They help students with strategies, behavioral strategies, studying, academic strategies as well. And they also help connect our students and families with resources. Now, I'll have to admit, I am married to a social worker. And so I have a deep appreciation for social workers. But if you see a social worker, hug a social worker, get their consent first. But hug a social worker and let them know how much we appreciate them as well. Earlier during the meeting, you heard Ms. Tanner recognize Timberland High graduate Zaire Godin, who placed first overall in the Home Telecom's annual front of the cover contest. Congratulations to Zaire. But I also want to recognize the following students that placed in the competition as well. In the high school division, second place, Isabella Toomey from Philip Simmons High. Third place, Michaela Lawrence from Cane Bay High. Middle school division, First place, Madison Edge, Marrington Middle School of the Arts. In second place, Taylor Reinhardt from Hanahan Middle School. Third place, Lyric Curitan from Sedgefield Middle. And in elementary division, first place, Avery Matthews from Berkeley Intermediate. Second place, Rayma Rezick from Hanahan Middle. In third place, Dylan Ramos Martinez from Philip Simmons Elementary. So congratulations to those students as well. And then last but not least, well, it's actually not last. I want to also share the fact that I enjoyed seeing such fun events that were occurring last week during our Read Across America Week. But there's something that sticks out, and that was seeing our high school students, both in person and photographs, with a book in their hands, surrounded by young students, young, engaged students. And so our high school students, they may not realize it. That's, you know, those years, it's kind of about themselves. I have a couple in the house, and so it's kind of about themselves. And so they may not realize it, but those interactions with those younger learners is very impactful. They're setting the example for years to come. And so to all of our older students that are out there, please keep up the great work. Please continue to make time to read and engage with our younger students who look up to you. You're setting an example. And so thank you for making a difference. And so this is last. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Timberland High School and Mr. Evans, Mr. Timko, Ms. Reed, I know she was here earlier, and the staff for doing a tremendous job of preparing the building and being such welcome host and hospitable host. It's been wonderful, and it's always great to, I'll say, come back home. It's always a great feeling to come back out to Timberland. These off-site board meetings, we've said this before, these off-site board meetings, they are not easy. They're not easy to set up. It takes a lot of coordination. I'd also like to thank Ms. Diane Driggers and her folks as well in maintenance and technology for making this all possible. And it's a tremendous effort, but it's good to get out into our schools. It's good for us to get out into our schools, for board members to get out into the schools, but it's good for the public as well to get out and visit our schools. And just to see how wonderful all of our schools are. Thank you again. Thank you for all of your efforts. We've been preparing for quite some time now. So thank you for all of your efforts. Thank you for being great hosts. Mr. Barrow, that concludes my report.
You did take my thunder, you realize that, because it is a homecoming for me. Mr. Evans, several years ago, was a band director, now he's a principal. I was a principal, now I'm on the school board. Mr. Jackson and Mr. McDowell were here as assistant principals, and it's just better in the country. It's just better in the country. Mr. Timko, I know you're happy. Ms. Reed, I know you're happy. So you've done a marvelous job, Tim. Ms. Glaze, homegrown right here, Timberland. So you know, it's just good to come home. But there are a couple of things that I need to talk a little bit about. On February the 8th, 2022, the board approved the appointment of a special committee to evaluate proposals, conduct interviews, and make recommendations for audit services. The committee was comprised of Ms. Wofford, Ms. Littleton, and chaired by Mr. McQuillan. So, Mr. McQuillan, I will defer to you for your motion to approve this audit services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the committee members, Sally Wofford and Kathy Littleton, for taking time out to come and participate in the meeting, and all of the staff at Finance that helped and gave us good information so that we could make a decision on the bid. I move to approve the award of RFP 631, 2021-2022 for audit services to Elliott Davis LLC for an initial one-year contract term valued at $107,500 with the option to renew for 4 additional one-year terms for a total 5-year contract value of $572,500.
We have a recommendation from the committee, and no second is required. Is there any discussion?
I will say, we have used Elliott Davis in the immediate past, and I know that the board had concerns based on the prior auditing firm we had before them that we'd used for, 20-plus years? And one of the lessons we learned through the financial debacle a couple years ago is you don't want to get too cozy with your auditors. But one of the things that I think was important to the committee was that this audit firm will have different staff involved, so it'll be a fresh set of eyes. Nobody's getting too cozy with anybody else so that they can perform an objective and valid audit to make sure that they catch anything. So we were comfortable with that. I just wanted to let the committee know that they're the immediate past audit firm, but one of the conditions was they would get new staff involved, so it wasn't the same people.
I think that's well said. We're in the business of making sure that things aren't only right, but they look right, and that's what our emphasis was here. Because Elliott Davis is a good company, but they were on the job for 5 years. There was a recommendation a couple of months ago to extend that for 2 years. The board declined that so that we could reopen it, rightfully so. We did our due diligence. We had a good committee. I appreciate the committee's due diligence and the recommendation. So we'll call the question. Any other comments, any other discussion before we call the question? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0. Second item is under policy BA. The board chair can nominate and ask for and make recommendations for committee assignments. And in this particular case, I'm coming before the board again, asking for a motion to approve a special committee. The committee will be to make recommendations to the full board for the naming of the new K-8 school at Carnes Crossroads. So I'd like a motion from the board and a second, and then the discussion and approval of the following board members for the committee. The chair of the committee would be Ms. Kelly Marone from District 7. The other members would be Ms. Kirsten Tanner from District 9, and the third member would be Dr. Crystal Wigfall from District 3. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the special committee appointments as detailed by the chair.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Wofford. Ms. Wofford made the motion, seconded by Mr. McQuillan, I believe.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question on approval of the special committee appointment. Please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0. We're coming to a close. Just remember the South Carolina State Ethics Commission filing, and that is due by the end of this month if you haven't already done that. Also, I believe you have, board members, you have possibly in your packet the South Carolina School Board Association Day at the Capitol. That is Wednesday, April 27th. It is a special time for the board to visit the Capitol. The event begins at 8:45 with registration and breakfast, and continues throughout the day with the legislators and the South Carolina School Boards Association, as well as local members becoming involved with the legislative process and the agenda of the General Assembly. And I do not know that I have anything else, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, second from
Tanner.
Ms. Tanner. Who was it? Ms. Marone? Ms.
Ms.
Marone.
Tanner. Nope, it was all of us, I think.
Ms.
but-
Tanner.
We're all ready to go, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.